This is Dr. David Allen. I've worked in the field of drug addiction for the past 40 years. And today we're talking with some men who've gone through the treatment of drug addiction. We're talking with Antonio. Antonio, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. Grew up with a single mother. I have 5 other siblings, and she was a single parent. And I grew up in the ghettos. And at 13 years old, I had my first experience with heroin. And from that point on, I got involved in gangs, and that just escalated. I took a trip to Spain with my grandmother for about 5 months. And that's where I think I wanted to see other things, because all I knew was the neighborhood. And I came back, and within 2 weeks of being back, I was shooting heroin again. And I was 17 going on 18, and I said, I can't be doing this. And I went down to Military Park and joined the Army. I thought running away from where I was raised would take care of the situation. But every time I went somewhere, I always showed up. And I was able to get what I wanted to get.
Every time you went somewhere, you showed up.
And so I came here, and I started going to the day labor job and paying my $3 a night. Of course, get my drugs and everything else to live, and I lived day by day that way. And one day, I was really tired of being tired.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I was tired of being tired. I didn't even want to go on no more. You know, I considered myself at one time a very controlling person, and to be controlled by heroin, you know, I couldn't wake up without having heroin. I couldn't go to sleep without having heroin. And it didn't matter what other drugs I did in between, but I had to have my heroin. And I OD'd over in the Southeast. And now today I know the Lord brought me back. But I was so mad that he brought me back, because I wanted to end it. You know, I just wanted to finish.
To die?
Yes, I wanted to die.
You come to the end of your rope.
Yes, I didn't want it no more.
What is it like when a person feels they really want to end it all? What does it feel like, Antonio?
You're alone.
Alone?
Alone. I don't ever want to feel that again.
Terrible feeling.
Yes. I could see it. But
you can almost stare death in the eye.
Yes, but I was all right with it. I just wanted to go. I was tired. I didn't feel I could do it anymore. But the Lord brought me back, you know.
How? What happened?
I just woke up. I started hearing the people trying to wake me up, and the fire truck came. But I got up angry, and I didn't want to, you know, I just woke up and walked away, and I was just angry. And I came back here, and they were having chapel service. And I came up, and, you know, they asked, does anybody want prayer? And I came up and I asked for help. And a friend of mine took me to detox, and I went to detox, and I was there for about 10 days. And when I came out of detox, one of the very first things I did was do heroin again. And I said, what is this? So, you know, after that, I thought, what is this?
How did that make you feel? Hey, you go into detox, and after detox, the first thing you do is heroin. How did that make you feel?
It was terrible. It was like the control that drug had over me. You know, that's, but when I did, I realized I didn't want to no more. I did not want, because everything came back, how it controlled me. Heroin, I love heroin more than I love my kids.
You love heroin more than you loved your kids?
Yes, that's true.
Powerful drug.
I wasn't even involved in too much in their lives, you know. But God, ooh. God brings it all together. You know, if you see me with my kids, you would think I was in their life all their time. But he's given me another chance with my grandchildren. And it keeps me going. You know, God can do things that you yourself can never dream would do. I never thought that this healing and this mending with my children would ever happen the way it did. And I mean, they keep me going. You know, God keeps me going, my grandchildren keep me going, and I'm loving life today. I never saw life being sober. You know, I've gotten so used to doing drugs every day of my life that I never thought of being sober again. I thought that was just the way I'm supposed to live.
What made you change your life? What was the thing that brought the change on in you?
God actually brought the change. I never had a relationship with God. I grew up as a Catholic. I knew of God. You know, I knew of Jesus.
So you're saying God was the change agent in
Yes.
your life. How does that work?
I learned to trust God. You know,
Explain that. How does one learn to trust God?
that no matter what, it's going to be all right.
Wow.
That no matter what, it's going to be all right. I learned that here. You know, when you get in the way and you try to do it, it just doesn't work. You know, I was here for the year program, and I think around the 4th, 5th month, it really, really came to light. And, you know, I started talking to God.
Absolutely amazing. And then what happened?
Well, I continued here, and my family started getting in touch with me while I was here, and I don't even know how. A couple of my daughters was coming every Sunday to service to be with me.
And did something happen inside you?
Yes, I carry some things. I lost my mother, who was my best friend.
It must have been very sad.
I had 14 years in the military, and I left. I got out the military, and I was devastated. And of course, I went back to New Jersey, and I got involved. I was married. I sent my wife to Virginia, to her mother's house, told I was sent for her. Over a year later, she came and got me. And I was doing a lot of things I shouldn't be doing. And, but...
So your mother's death may have had a kind of wake-up call.
Well, no, I think it drove my addiction to another level because I didn't know how to deal with that. You know, I really didn't know how to deal with that. And because I kept the wall. You know, I kept the wall, and I said, I'm not letting nobody in on this side of the wall because they can hurt me. So if I keep you outside the wall, then I know you can't hurt me because I got you outside the wall.
That's a good way of putting it, Antonio. You had this wall, then outside the wall you had your addiction, and you had this wall blocking you from your hurt. But all the time, the hurt in your heart was actually feeding the addiction. I guess for a tough guy like you, talking about your hurt was not easy.
No, it's not. Talking about anything that I felt was nobody else's business was not easy. You know, and where I grew up, that was a sign of weakness.
You don't talk about it.
That's right, you don't talk about it.
But what was it like to talk about the death of your mother?
At first it was difficult.
I bet.
But as we talk more and more, I can actually feel like some weight coming off. You know, this
Isn't that
weight.
powerful?
And now I could, you know, Mother's Day, for example, was not a good day for me for a long time. And now I'm all right. Mother's Day, you know, I call my children up, my sisters up, and stuff like that. I can get through Mother's Day. It's all right. I can face it, if you will, now, where I didn't want to face it, you know.
Antonio, this is interesting because, you know, in most addictions, whether it be heroin or crack, behind the addiction there's always some severe trauma. And in your case, the death of your mother was such a powerful pain and loss for you that when you were able to talk about that and free yourself of the secrets of that, it seemed as if you were able to become free.
I think what really did it, I was in Germany, I was in the military, and I got news that my mother was in intensive care. And they flew me in, and I got in, and went to the hospital, and I'm the oldest. And she was in a coma, and the doctor called me in, and he said, you know, your mother, we're just keeping her alive. Her heartbeats are slowing down. We continually inject her to keep her alive. So she's going through a lot. You know, he's basically telling me we're getting ready to lose her anyway. And my mother's always told me growing up, you know, she never, you know, when she passes, she wants to pass away and have no pain. So he asked me, did I want him to stop the injections? And I thought about that. I said, yeah, stop the injections. So we left the hospital and went home. 15 minutes later, I got called and she died. And I felt I killed her. And I didn't want to share it with my brothers and sisters because I was trying to be strong. So it took a long time. And I didn't talk about that until I came here. And I even went back and talked to my siblings and told them how I felt that day. But, you know, I had a 16-year-old sister who needed some guidance, and I was in the military. But thank God my other sisters were able to take care of her and raise her. And, so it was tough.
So you're telling people who listen that they have to talk about their pain
Yes.
in order to get rid of it.
Yes, because it's there if you don't. It's there if you don't. You wake it up every so often. You can bury it for a minute.
Yeah.
But
They usually say, sick people don't talk. Healthy people talk. So when a person starts to talk about their pain, health is on the way. And it seemed, Antonio, when you started talking about your pain, healing started to come. Of course, God is always involved with that.
absolutely.
Because he's the one who listens to us all the time.
I had to write a letter to God, too. That was one thing I did when I came, because I was mad at God.
What did you say to him?
I wanted to know why he took my mother, you know, and that I was mad at him, and that, you know, I understand now. We're only here for a season. You know, we're only here for a season.
It's like Michael
This is
Jackson's
not
song, Gone Too Soon.
Yeah, we're not here to be
Gone
here
too
forever.
soon.
This is not home.
We're only passing through it.
We're only passing through. That's right.
And I guess the tragedy of addiction is it just blocks everything out. And we forget who we are, where we are, and what we are. And then we die. So addiction is kind of like a death in death.
Yes.
And so by conquering your addiction, you kind of rose up to live.
Yes, actually, life got better. Life got better. I didn't have to carry that heavy load. And you know, it's helped me a lot because I can talk to people. I can tell them my story. Of course, I get emotional because I feel I'm human. But I, you know.
And that's not weakness, Antonio, to talk about your emotions. That's not, in fact, that's strength.
Yeah, I don't feel it's weakness.
Right.
Not anymore. Not anymore. You know, that's just the way it is.
You know, I'm very touched by you when I come here to the mission and the work you do with the men, getting them back to work. See, I believe that no matter what a guy does, he may get his addiction treated. If he doesn't get a job, he's not going to function. And you get men back to work. How does that make you feel?
Getting people back to work is it's a natural high, if you can understand. It's wow. You know, you just feel like you're floating. You know, when you see a person get a job, go out, get his place, pay his bills.
Well, Antonio, you've given us a lot. Anything you'd like to leave with people who are watching this tape?
Believe in God and just trust Him. You know, when you trust God, you don't really worry about what's going to happen. You know, you really don't worry about what's going to happen because you're not in control anyway. So let just God do what God does, and you just follow the road. And don't give up on yourself, and be honest.
Anthony, great. God bless.
God bless you. Thank you.